Welcome to another episode of Talk and Takes. I'm your host, Ashley, and with me is my co-host,
Natasha.
Today, we're going to be talking about voters' education, and we brought two really enlightened guests with us. We have to my right, Mr. Ruben Izu Jr., a public affairs analyst. To my far right is Mr. Teddy Ben Osai. Am I getting that right? Yes. An electrical engineer, a speaker, a politician, and a social reformer. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hey there! Are you looking to record your videos, do your voiceovers, and take your professional pictures? Look no further. With our state-of-the-art newsroom, photography, kitchen for our food content creators, and exclusive children's studio, we certainly can deliver the best studio experience. Our carefully designed studio space can bring your diverse creative content ideas to life. We aim to consistently serve value to our customers far and wide. Come, let Thav Media give life to your dreams. Thav Media, a slice of infotainment.
Welcome back. So, voters' education. Are we even ready for a new election come 2023 already? Because we already know that.
And it goes by so fast. I feel like it was just last year we were going crazy about 2019 election, and now
are we ready for 2023 elections? Please, what are your takes? Yes, please.
Yeah.
Okay. Honestly, if you look at what's going on, if you look at, the statements INEC have been making the last 5 days, I don't think we are. I really don't think we're ready for the elections because, even with the voter registration, there's still a lot of back and forth with INEC and funds, budgets, which is actually for me is the least of the problem. But looking at voter registration, looking at INEC's preparedness, I don't think we are. But as we all know, elections will still hold.
Yes, Mr. Ruben, do you have a counter opinion on that?
Well, I will not counter what he has said. I think he's actually in line going by what has happened in Anambra State. But we still have, Ekiti and Osun State to come. These are elections that are supposed to test the preparedness of Nigerians and as well as INEC before the 2023 election. But all things being equal, I wouldn't want to say they have not done what they should do, but we all know that there has been no perfect election anywhere in the world, but we are edging towards getting it right. But I think the best thing we can do when you come to talk about voter education is the extent at which stakeholders engage the electorates. But when you see how INEC currently is being under attack by even the electorates, their offices are being burnt down, time without number. It tells you we are far from getting the actual orientation. And that's where I fault the National Orientation Agency for not doing enough when we talk about orientating our electorates. It's a problem because you don't give what you don't have. It is as a result of what you have, the information at your disposal gives you a better chance going forward. Our electorates do not really understand what is election. That is why you can see that things can just go this way. So I think the state governors, politicians, name them stakeholders, must do enough to actually, like he made mention. Recently, I worked with Yaga in terms of in the voter registration in my very local government. I saw the way people were asking questions. This registration that they are doing, is it different from the former? Telling you that they are not aware. Those who manage to know that it is the same thing they ask you, this one that they are bringing buses to convey us to the voters, the INEC office, at the end of it, are they going to give us a tip? Telling you that they don't know what they are doing. Wow. So it takes someone to really give them a better orientation.
Okay, really, you've talked a lot about reorientation. For me, I believe it's not really about being reorientated. I think the average Nigerian understands the electoral process, but really, the reason why we are lax about a whole lot of things is we still have that nagging question, does my vote really count?
Yes.
Does it really count? Why do I even need to know more about the process? So brings me to my question real quick, sir. Does our vote count? What do you think about that narrative that we have as Nigerians? A lot of Nigerians don't think it does. Anyway.
You see why I said we need a reorientation. There is a new electoral act. How many Nigerians are aware? Do they follow the processes? They have that mindset before now because of the manual processes, but right now those things have been expunged. Who will give this message to them without a good interaction to let them know now that elections are going to be held in a different way and your vote will count? If you don't do that, how will they know?
Can you enlighten us a bit on that?
That's why I'm saying it is high time now. Like I was saying, I wanted to partner with some of the political office holders when INEC National actually contacted me to see how we can go local government to local government to enlighten the voters. It is even too late, but it's better late than never to enlighten the voters now what is provided in the new electoral act that has been passed and what the electorate should expect. And now they can as well choose who they want to choose because of what is provided there. But currently now, if that orientation does not go, there will be a huge voter apathy because one, some areas are volatile, some areas are volatile not just because of the area. It is volatile because of the mindset. If you hijack a ballot box, you increase the voting of your own person. But currently now with the orientation that people should come out because there will be no hijack, because if you hijack, there is nothing you will do with it. It will change the perception and as well reduce the extent of voter apathy.
Okay. For a minute, let me just take us back to voters registration. I believe INEC projected 100 million voters registration for 2023 election. So my first question is, has that been achieved? That's number one. And two, what is the strength of the voters registration in each geopolitical zone? I'm pretty sure that places like the North, and when you compare, the enlightenment of citizens in the North and in the South, they are completely different. So what is the strength of each geopolitical zone with registration?
Well, INEC actually promised and hit their chest that they are going to hit 20 million. But I know that's far from being realistic. And I think sometime in, was it January or so, the 22 local government chairmen in Rivers State protested to the INEC office, citing the fact that their, the registration process in their various local governments are actually being slow, thereby recording a very low turnout in terms of achieving the registrations. But in the North, it has been said for quite some time, even when it comes to the election proper, that it seems like attention is given more in the North. People from this region in the southern part of the country has had these feelings like when the voters card has issues, the PVC, the bimodal systems might have issues and they resort to other things to enable electorates being captured. But over here we wait, and at the end of the day, we saw that. I quickly want to use the Anambra as a case study. The governor-elect, the governor currently now, his polling unit, there was an issue up to about 3 p.m. There was nobody that voted. As at that time, it tells you that definitely if you have 4 million persons from that very polling unit, you can't capture all because there's a stipulated time for voters to vote. Now, when you look at this whole listing, this is the same thing that is also affecting the voter registration. We are under-registered, if I must say. With details I have in Rivers State, I think we have, before the last year to resume, I think in June, but before the break, they have about, I think, 2.something million successfully registered, but as at Friday, INEC came out with some false and double registration. Okay. So they will have to now get to check those who registered multiple places. Times. Okay. So at the end of the day, the figures will definitely drop. We are still yet to get a total number of multiple registrations. Okay. So for now, not too clear, still very sketchy, but I know that within the week, the true state of Rivers State voter strength in terms of what they have successfully registered in this new CVR period will definitely come out.
Okay, Mr. Teddy, please, can you share with us your own take on the geopolitical strength?
Well, currently, if you look at the way the voter strength is shared amongst the geopolitical zones, like he rightly said, the Northwest actually has the highest number of registered voters in the country. They have about 24% of the total voter capacity in the country. And for me, I think it's deliberate. Also based on, like what you also said, the apathy from the South, the Southeast. We're not very keen on some of these things. Yeah. They take it seriously. They try to get more people registered to vote. over here, I don't know if it is the, I'm trying to be very careful with my words, but I don't know if it is a strategic plan to hamper, the rate of voter registration from this part of the country. But in all fairness, I think INEC is not, they say 20 million. They've just done about, the last time I checked, it was about 1.8 million new voters. And not 1.8, just 1.3 are actually new PVCs. Over 400,000 are like people that are relocating their polling units and the people that are being reissued, PVCs. So, I mean, you said 20 million. You have 4 years to get 20 million. And then in 4 years, okay, after your CVR, you're saying we have only 1.3 million new voters added. And then they came out to say 45% of those that register to vote, the registration is invalid. 45% of those registered to vote is invalid. So everything they've done, 45% is a waste. So how are you? But like I said, elections will still hold, but there are a lot of irregularities and flaws in the system. For me, what I'm looking at is like, we're still going to have the same, because currently INEC is saying we're 84 plus million people that have been registered to vote. 84 million. As of 2019, I think it was about 82 million. So it's just an addition of about 1.7, approximately 2 million people have been added to the 82 million. So we have 84 million people registered to vote. And the country has over 210 million.
Allegedly.
So you just have 84 million Nigerians. And let me shock you. 2019 elections, there were 82 plus million people registered to vote. 34.75% of that number were the people that came out to vote.
Wow.
So 82 point something million people registered to vote, and you have less than 30 million people that voted in the last elections. So 50 million registered voters didn't show up to vote. So I feel if we have to get it right, like he said, reorientation has to occur. People have to understand that. Let me even digress a bit. The average Nigerian doesn't. Yeah. Okay.
Mr. Teddy, I know that you have much on your plate to say, and I'm
Okay.
so interested in hearing your second point. But before we get into that, we'll be right back after this short break.
Hey there! Are you looking to record your videos, do your voiceovers, and take your professional pictures? Look no further. With our state-of-the-art newsroom, photography, kitchen for our food content creators, and exclusive children's studio, we certainly can deliver the best studio experience. Our carefully designed studio space can bring your diverse creative content ideas to life. We aim to consistently serve value to our customers far and wide. Come, let Thav Media give life to your dreams. Thav Media, a slice of infotainment.
Welcome back. Mr. Teddy, you were saying a thing before we went on a short break.
Okay, so I was talking about the voter education, voter sensitization issue. So I said the average Nigerian should understand that, your voice, your vote counts. You have a say. We have this apathy. We feel like, there's nothing we can do. All hope is lost. We can't change what is going on. 210 million people, down to 30 million people actually voting in 2019. It shows you how much apathy and how much, we should get involved. We should understand the system. We should, on our own, try to understand, okay, elections in Nigeria, how is it conducted? What's my responsibility as a citizen first? What do I need to do to vote? They make us feel like your votes don't count, and we buy it. But it actually does, it actually does. If we go out there, get our PVCs, understand the system, become committed in our communities. It's amazing what one informed and enlightened person can do. We can get into the space, but there are lots of us that are not engaging. We are not engaging. Okay, we don't have information, because when you're informed, you can actually engage. Yeah. Criticizing is not engaging. It's like more like the first step, but we should engage. We should get into the space. We should engage. We should get into our communities, and then we can turn this thing over. But if we're waiting for INEC, waiting for the government, it's really not going to happen. We have to go out there and get the information and know what it is. It's out there. It's out there for people to know. We should get involved.
Truly, you have spoken well.
Yeah.
But wouldn't you say that what you just said, the statement you just made, is based off of ideal, hope,
Okay.
Not necessarily very practical. I give you a case in point.
Okay.
Over time, Nigerians have felt rigged as a people. We see it in every electoral process. You go, you vote, some people come carry ballot boxes, this and that. Oh, now we need the electoral, the collation, the collative voting system, so that once you do the electronic voting, it collates and all of that. There's been a lot of drag here and there.
Okay.
The average Nigerian just simply feels like it doesn't matter, whatever happens.
Yeah.
And moreover, even the people that have gotten into the position, they haven't done much. The one that supposedly said he was going to bring us some glorious change, nothing much happened. So do you really blame the average Nigerian for wanting to say there is no point?
Can I say something? Okay.
Do you really blame us for wanting to say there is no point going about getting our voters card when there is nothing really happening? Would you blame me for that? Or would you rather say that the government or INEC, they have to do the harder work of winning back the trust of the citizens back in the electoral process?
Okay. So let me say this. We know, like you said, it's not about being ideal. We know that if we're waiting for the government and we're waiting for INEC to do the hard work, it will not be done. It will not be done. We will still be in this mess. Something happened in Anambra. I can't really remember the person's name, but I know that there was a guy whose mom was just an Akara fryer who won a seat in the Anambra State House of Assembly. I don't know if people came out to protect the votes of this guy, and I think he actually won. I'm not, but there was this, his story was everywhere, that actually, the point is, votes don't count. When you're supposed to have 200 people do something, and only 20 comes out, what do you expect? It's easy for me to pick 20 people and say, well, come and take 5,000 naira. And the rest of us are at home. If you look at the political space, it wasn't like 20 years ago where, politics was about killing people and stuff. Nigeria is gradually evolving from that space. It's no longer about people dying, assassins, killing people, assassinating people. We now have a system where we are progressing gradually, even though the change is very, 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 very minute, but we're gradually evolving. So right now, I feel every young person in this country that wants to be involved in politics, that wants to, and let me correct this impression. Being involved in politics is not just about running for office. It's not just about running for office. It's about being concerned. Politics is basically everybody's business, So it's not just about running for office. The average Nigerian should understand that. Where I come from, I know my ward chairman. I know my councillor. I know my House of Assembly member. I know my reps member. These are people that I actually talk to some of them. I have their phone numbers. I'm not a big politician. Nobody knows who I am.
But you're involved.
But I'm engaged. I'm engaging in my community. I know my village youth president. I have his phone number. We talk about challenges in my community. What's going on with the primary school? What's going on in the secondary school? Okay, the security challenges in the village. Okay, this is what you can do. You can write to the commissioner of police. You can go and see the councillor. You can go and see the chairman. What see, the ideology and mentality that we've had is that we are paralyzed and we have nothing. That's a lie. That's a lie. When you know that as a citizen, I keep saying it, that even in this flawed context we call Nigeria, the highest office is still the office of the citizen. You have powers that you don't know. If you are able to, if you're willing to get involved, if you're willing to put your mind to it and say, okay, the thing is, you need to be selfless. You need to be, it's hard work to get information, to know. So if you can do that, definitely 10 people, like mine, 20 people, come on. It's going to be hard, but we can effect change.
Okay, I like that you said we need to be selfless. And I know Natasha said something about how an average Nigerian, we now know that we're supposed to vote. We know we're supposed to get our card and all that. But talking about selfless, I want to ask this question to you, Mr. Ruben, especially for company owners, employers, a situation where your employee needs to go to INEC office to get registered, or even if you register online, you still need to go to the office to pick up your printouts and all of that. And some people go there and spend the entire day. You get there, personally, I got there 6:30 sometime last week, and there was already crowd. We were picking numbers, I was 50-something, by 6:30 in the morning. So imagine having to report to work that day. That means I'll probably leave before 8, and it will not get to my turn. How would you say employees or Nigerians generally that own businesses can be more selfless in a way that would allow their employers to get registered?
So I think what I still insist is for the the elites, because this thing is not just the breakdown between the long lost love between the elites and the electorate started even before the pre-colonial era. And you know, they say it takes 1,000 hits for the rock to get pieces, but you do not throw away the very first hit, despite the fact that that very first one did not, designate the rock. But the truth is, Nigeria had a failed system ab initio. So the extent at which it has eaten, it is in our DNA, not taking things serious, not until the time in it we want to get result. We have been doing the same thing time without number, and we're expecting a change. It's not going to work. You see how before the next election, from the current one that is just rounding up, in a better climb, you see them preparing for the next one. Before the next Olympics, from this current one, they are grooming for the next one. But Nigeria does not do that. INEC, like you were saying off camera, you're supposed to be independent, and ordinarily the constitution permits them to determine the best possible way to carry out an effective election. But they are being tamed. Ordinarily, it's not supposed to be. INEC is supposed to sit and tell you the way the National Assembly was reacting against the executive, determining what they should do. So is INEC having the constitutional right to reject what the executive is passing to them. They should rather send to the executive what they think is right. That's why they call them INEC, independent. But here they are not. Ordinarily, I am seeing, let me tell you, I want to take the case of the Nigerian police. When they go outside the shores of the country, they are the best. But when they come here, in the world index, they are one of the worst. Is it not obvious that something is wrong in the country? Mm-hmm. When we send our worst hands here to go for a refresher course outside, they do best. But in practice here, I love what she was saying earlier on when she was to ask my colleague a question. It is easier said than being done. In practice, it is not possible. Sorry, it's good to be very hopeful. It's good to be very hopeful. When you have built, laid a good foundation, then you are hopeful that your lintel to your roofing will be very okay. But when you don't have a good foundation, it is a problem, because whatever you build on that foundation is going to have a structural defection. That is the extent at which Nigeria has gotten to. Let me tell you, there is a saying that they say you have gone to a journey of no return. The meaning is because there is nothing that will be done that will correct what is already done. Nigeria has not gotten to that point where I would say we have embarked on a journey of no return. But the fact remains that when you are not ready, they say the day you wake up,
there's a morning.
Nigeria has yet to wake up. So when will the day break? Check out the actions of our leaders.
Can I interject?
Yeah.
Okay, so the point is, you've said, everything you said makes a whole lot of sense. The elites, doing what they can do or doing the harder work, institutions, but who they build institutions is people. We know the current Nigerian situation. The elites, the government, the three tiers of government. I mean, I don't want to mention a particular state, but we know that some of these governors, they are the executive arm, they are the legislature, they are the judiciary. They do everything. I think at the end of the day, the power is on us. The onus is on us as citizens to fix this. If we're going to build credible institutions, if we're going to challenge status quo, challenge government, challenge the system, as much as I believe that, as much as we can get elites to...
I want you to be very practical in this whole thing. If Nigeria were to experience any revolution and change, it would have been the
NSAS.
But even at that, these so-called few elites, I told you, still frustrated.
Okay.
So that's where I came from.
Very well spoken. Thank you so much. Real quick. Okay. So right now, one major problem Nigerians are having is the recycling of the aspirants coming out for the top position. Yeah. We're having issues with that. Not the same crop of people keep recycling to come back, and they keep telling us the same thing. Okay. Nigerians look at that and they say, we're lost cause. So two questions. One, is having a youth at the top office really the answer? Because we keep saying these people are old, 70s and all that. Is having a youth at the top office really the answer? That's question number one. Question number two is, what criteria would you advise the average Nigerian who has a PVC to look out for when going to vote come 2023 next year?
Okay, can I?
Without mentioning any particular
Okay, of course.
party and
Can I-
name.
so for me, it's not about having a young person in office. It's about having a credible person. In fact, a person that has credibility, competence, capacity, and heart. I added heart, because Nigeria's problem is not about capacity and competence. It's corruption. It's about values. So if we're looking at whoever should be at the apex office in the country, it should be a person that has character. Character, I'm talking about your antecedents. What has brought you this far? How far have you come? What have you been doing? If we look back 20 years, 15 years, what have you done? And not necessarily that you've occupied some big office but in the things you've handled. Are you a credible person? Are you a person that, you've handled your business? Are you a corrupt person? Are you a person that, do you have initiative? Can you grow our economy? So I think that is what Nigerians should look at. But then, Nigerians, we also believe that, if you're not in a big party, I think we should we should get that out of our head. If you're not in a big party, people just say there's no possibility for you to win. So if you're not among the big wigs, people just look at you like you're just testing your hands. But we should be able to look at people even outside these big parties that have these qualities, and we should vote for them.
Thank you so much for your input.
Sorry, I want to talk about that big party issue.
Okay.
Judging by last election,
Yeah.
we have to be sincere with ourselves. These bigger parties, they have the resources to go to every corner of the country to campaign.
Yeah.
The smaller parties don't.
Yeah.
I can't remember watching any serious campaign happen during presidential election from smaller parties here in the city of Port Harcourt.
Yeah.
So don't you think it's better that we, the Nigerians that have the power to put whoever we want there, to just find a way to work together and put someone we want in one of those big parties instead of creating smaller parties that don't have the resources to properly campaign?
Okay. To answer that, these big parties, infiltrating their structure is almost impossible. It's almost impossible.
Okay.
So I think to me, that might not be everybody's opinion, but I think it's almost impossible. What Nigerians can do is rally around ourselves, and it mustn't be a big party. It mustn't be a big party. Even if having a big party, you have an edge, but we're not going to get that big party. So it's just to rally around ourselves and then get somebody. 2019 election, there was one party that they were calling the third force. At the end of the day, the third force didn't even get up to 2,000 votes. Because Nigerians didn't really rally around the party because they felt on a day small. Yeah. Politics is a very complex.
Yes, it is absolutely complex. And I would want us to engage in this topic more because I have a whole lot to say, but we are pressed for time. And this is us saying thank you so much for watching, and we hope that you keep watching. Stay tuned. Bye for now. Bye.